Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Hilda and I have known each other a long time. When I came into real estate, she was like the OG. Everybody told me to go follow her around and learn from her. I was in 2017, and she's never steered me wrong. I think on my worst days in real estate, I always call Hilda, and I'm like, Hilda. They keep lowballing everyone. I'm not going to use the mic because I think I'm loud enough as it is. But I'll point that right there. So yeah, I'm Justin Ferris. We own a couple of companies. J Ferris Media and J Ferris Digital is what we're going to be talking about today. So just out of a show of hands, who's a property manager and who's a landlord just doing their own stuff? Property managers, raise your hand. Okay, very cool. And then the rest are, your landlords doing your own properties? Okay, very good. If you've got 1 to 5 properties, raise your hand. Okay, 5 to 10? More than 20? Oh, wow. Okay, more than 50? More than 100? Pedro, stop showing off. Okay, more than 200? You said you had 200 doors earlier? Wow. Yeah, what's the most? Who has the... You're at 200, Pedro? How many do you guys have? I know. 5. Pedro, how many do you guys have? 186, and you're at over 200? Wow, very cool. Got to get those numbers up, Pedro. I work with Pedro a lot. We actually do a lot of shoots for him. Okay, so a little bit about what we do. We do photos, video, drone work, and then we also go into digital marketing and things like that because we know that sometimes we hand someone a really great video or photos and they go, this looks great, what the heck do we do with it? So, we were talking a little bit about your marketing. What was your name again, sir? I'm so sorry.
John Ryan, I'm with Remax.
John, okay, very cool. How would you rate your own marketing plan? Scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best. Just hold up an amount of fingers that you would give yourself. 1, okay. Okay, 8, there you go. No, not how handsome you are. It's how oh, I'm just kidding. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about that today. You guys don't need to know about all that. Objectives. Okay, so the main things we're going to do is we're going to define your goals and target market, leveraging marketing tactics, online presence and reputation management, paid advertising, data-driven decisions, and building a strong brand for your rental properties, okay? Success in marketing lies in deeply understanding your audience, precisely defining your target market, and developing a branding strategy that aligns with market demands while boosting perceived value, ultimately driving sustainable growth and long-term success. So we're going to start with understand up here. It's crucial to have a deep understanding of your target market. How many of you guys believe it's important to seek to understand before seeking to be understood? That's a Keller Williams principle, isn't it? So any readers? Like to read a lot of business books? Okay, this is my number 1 most recommended book, Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. Change your life. It's such an incredible book. He talks about in the book where he can't take his wife to go to the movies anymore because he studied storytelling so much. He says, okay, in the first 11 minutes, we're going to meet the hero, and then within the next 8 minutes, the hero is going to have a dilemma, and then within 7 minutes after that, they're going to meet their guide, and he breaks it down. There's averages. Most movies follow the same script. But I love what he says right here. He said, the customer is the hero, not your brand. When we position our customers as the hero and ourselves as the guide, we will be recognized as a trusted resource to help them overcome their challenge. Positioning the customer as the hero in the story is more than just good manners. It's also good business. A lot of times in our businesses, we see it all the time, like, we've been in business since 1901. No one cares. We see that a lot, right? And what people unwittingly do is they compete with their customer for the position of the hero. Where we want to be is the guide to the hero, the Obi-Wan Kenobi, the Gandalf, the whoever, that we're the ones actually out there helping them with what they're needing. So let's talk about kind of defining a target. Rental statistics. Typical renter in the U.S. is 39 years old. Biggest demographics are millennials, 29 to 43 years old. Does that surprise anybody? I'm just surprised, we're not all living at home with our parents. 70% of renters, when they do move, they stay in the same metro area, which I thought was an interesting statistics. The most important thing, I was looking at what drives the choice. Why did they pick this certain property? Is that valuable information to you guys, or am I just dabbing in the dark? Okay, so the number 1 thing that has gone up pre-pandemic to post-pandemic was close to shopping services or leisure activities. That came in higher. That's gone up from 47% in 2018 to 56% in 2023. That is actually higher than how close they are to their job, which is a very important nugget for us in marketing. The other one was in a walkable neighborhood, offered a sense of community or belonging. I think that's gonna probably apply to more like apartments and things like that. But I thought that was really interesting. It was more about the community that they were living in than how close it was to their job or anything else. And so we'll talk about that a little bit more when we talk about what to put out on your properties, on your listings. So only 9% of people did not use online services in 2023 and 2024 for looking at things. It means 91% of people were online. I don't know who's using 10 plus sites and apps. I guess 22% of people, they just don't really have one they need. But typically we're seeing, around five to six apps or online services that they're using. This is some stats on. There's a couple of things in here. The one at 51% had a floor plan or layout that fit my preferences. How many of you guys include layouts or floor plans on your listings? So I've done a few for you guys, yeah. So that's gonna come in. Syndication platforms. How many platforms would you guys say that you syndicate to? Of these kind of platforms. A lot of them. Okay. How many of you guys feel like you don't syndicate to any of them? Or you just you put it on the MLS and wherever it goes, it goes? I think John was talking about that a little bit earlier. Okay, so the main things that I really like to add when I'm sitting down with somebody like Pedro and we're looking at, okay, what are we gonna do for this listing? Professional photos first and foremost. I think that is a bare minimum right now, is you got to have professional photos. The next thing I would always add is floor plans. Let me see if I'll show you some examples of floor plans here in a second. These are like 2D floor plans that would be like a blueprint that you would get from a builder. And one of the things that hits close to home for me is my mother. I grew up, my mother is in a wheelchair, has been in a wheelchair since 1963. The width of doorways are very important to her. And one of the things I really like about floor plans is when I was a kid, we would always get sent in. When we'd go on vacation somewhere, we always got sent in, and we knew how we'd use our arm. We'd be like, this is how wide mom's wheelchair is, and we would have to go measure a hotel room or anything like that before we got in. That was really hard in the 90s, to be able to, figure out if a hotel room was going to work for her or not. So that can be a huge thing with floor plans, with their furniture. It also is going to cut down on your showings, which I know might sound counterintuitive, but who loves showing rental properties? No one. And it really sucks when you get out there, you cancel your plans, you drive 45 minutes, you show it, and all they wanted to see was how big the pantry was. And you're like, oh, come on. This is floor plans are huge. They're like $50. They're really easy to add. Virtual staging. Anybody use virtual staging on any of their listings? So virtual staging, they put furniture in there. It's fake, but they can't tell. That's a huge thing. That would be the number 3 thing that I would start adding to your listings if you're not, because some people don't have imagination. Some people have bachelor eyes like me, and I have no clue where the couch or the TV is going to go. When you do that virtual staging, we see huge upticks in traffic to your listings whenever you start adding virtual staging. And obviously you want to put a disclaimer, this is not a furnished apartment or home, but virtual staging is really good. And our virtual staging, you can't tell that there's not any furniture there. But going and actually doing real staging, I mean, what is it, Hilda, $2,500, $3,000 to actually get someone to come in there and bring in furniture? We do these for like $25 a photo. Drone imagery. Drone imagery has typically been, people have talked about that as being, oh, it's got to be with land, only land and stuff like that. But remember, we were talking about how important community and being close to community amenities are for renters, buyers or renters right now. Getting that drone up there and being able to put, we call them nodes, we put little flags saying oh, the yoga center's here, and Wilson Park is here, and the dog park is here, and this is here. Those things tend to really help contextualize that because they're also looking for walkability. And when they can see from 300 feet, oh yeah, this house is really close to my favorite gym or close to Wright's Barbecue, then you're really hitting something great. This top picture is one of my favorite houses we've ever done. Anybody see the Treehouse in Bentonville that was on like Treehouse Builders? It's an Airbnb. We got to shoot that. That was one of my favorite ones to shoot. Just in case anybody's wondering, this is what professional photos need to look like. You need to be able to see through the windows. I like things really square and flush. Nothing drives me nuts more than downward angled photos because they tend to make rooms look a lot smaller. Here's those floor plans I was talking about. It'll tell the square footage of each room and be able to show people which way the doors swing, everything like that. 81% of consumers say they look for them on properties. Less than about 5% of people have them. So it's a huge way to stand out. And I've seen people actually pick up listings just because of this. That somebody goes, oh, nobody else offered that. I think that would have been important to us when we moved here from somewhere else. We got the 3D ones up there. The 3D ones look really cool. The 2D ones are really easy to do as well, though. Virtual staging, that's what the room looked like before, just totally empty. That's all virtual. That bed is not real. Does that look unreal? It's. Oh yeah, that was what he had. Yeah, that's what he had before. He was like a bachelor, and he's just like, I don't know. I just put an air mattress there. I don't know what I'm doing. So we were like, okay, let's fix that. So we made it look like, gave it a little bit of a woman's touch, and great. This is some of the nodes that we offer with drone imagery, but we also do ones where we do little flags up on kind of there. Video, I don't think the video is going to play. Video, I would say, Pedro, I know you guys are starting doing video on some of your higher end listings. I would only typically do video if you're really looking at a luxury listing. I would kind of have a mark right there. Now they get a ton of traction online, but if it's your standard 1,500 square foot Roush Coleman with like maybe not, especially if there's nothing in it. But those higher end ones, definitely. Anybody here use video before? Oh, perfect. You guys are I'm so happy to be here. So, as far as questions go, I wanted to leave a lot of time for Q&A. What are your questions about marketing and branding going into 2025?
Well, so now you were mentioning, I'm up here, I need to
Yeah. No, I love it.
So you mentioned the having a floor plan. What programs would you suggest using, or what besides having an appraiser come out and give that layout? What do you use, or what are some things people can use to have that for their properties?
Yeah, we do it all. Just call us and we'll handle it. Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned that. We do all the things we just talked about. We do the whole kit and caboodle while we're there. So we go in, we actually use something called LiDAR, which bounces light between the wall and our device, and it comes back and it's measuring, and it knows in milliseconds. That wall, it takes X amount of milliseconds to get there, so it knows that's 23 and a half feet. So they're very, very good about that kind of stuff. So we typically do that when we go in and do photos for people. It literally takes us maybe 15 minutes to scan a house. Pretty much the time it takes to walk through it. So we do a lot of those, for photos. And as soon as we do photos, we'll go through there and we're in and out in a hurry. Does that kind of answer your question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, let's say I have a property and I just want to try you out.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of assess the property. Let's say it's a 1,000 square foot property, 1968 in Springdale,
Mm-hmm.
which is one of my properties.
Yeah. That's the one, that was my listing, right? Is that the one I sold to you? The blue one?
Well, so remember, I'm actually using your photos from your listing.
Yes.
Whenever you get photos, professional photos taken of a property, you get it taken once. Unless you've done upgrades.
Yeah.
Then you want new photos. But these are photos and that you pay for, and every time you are advertising that rental again, you are getting your money back out of those photos again. Because you don't have to keep doing that. You don't have
Yes.
to keep getting photos for the same property. You use the same ones and it's in your bank. And that's going to be, it's a huge asset to have that. Because a lot of times people don't want pictures of their stuff. And you don't want to really take pictures of how people live in a place when it's occupied and you're trying to get it rented.
Yes.
And ideally,
Yes.
have the ability to have the vacant and the virtual.
Yes.
But it's huge
Mm-hmm.
to have that.
That's a great point. Yes.
With that said, do you sign the photos belong to the person that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you don't make.
Yeah, I know there's some photographers out there that do like licensing and stuff. That's way too complicated for me. I'm a real simple guy. So yeah, I'm like, once you've bought them, like they're yours, you know. Especially with the floor plans. Unless you're knocking out walls between tenants, that floor plan's going to stay pretty true to form. And you know, even if you have like if you're doing sales, we got some realtors in here, right? I'm a recovering realtor. We meet on Thursdays. I'm a realtor. I can change. For selling houses, one of the most important things we do is we combine that floor plan with the photos and we put it on a website and we put little dots on the floor plan and someone can hover with their mouse and see which photos belong to that room. Because there's so many times you're looking like, this is a cool photo, where the heck is this in the house? Doing stuff like that. That's a really big thing we do when it comes to offload a property or something like that. But Hilda, you're absolutely right. Being able to go in, get those photos, and then you're done. You can reuse them a million times. And I know I'm beating a dead horse here, but those floor plans are worth their weight in gold. Absolutely love this. Yeah, you just do it once. Yes, Pedro. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Most people even include it when they do like their Zillow listings or anything like that. They just include it as one of the photos in there, and it's really easy. Then it goes out to everybody. Everybody can see it. But what are you guys seeing as far as marketing trends? Where are renters coming from? What's the best bang for your buck that you've seen as far as getting in tenants? Ton from Zillow. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's perfect. Yeah. A lot. Who's more Benton County, more Washington County? If you're more Washington County, raise your right hand. If you're more Benton County, raise your left hand. So mostly what you're a little bit. What a difference in counties. What do you see as the biggest difference, Pedro, in the two counties with what people are looking for? Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. A little older crowd in Bentonville. Who's advertising on Facebook right now? You do some. What's your results been from that so far? We are working on that. We're working on that together. Okay, so the reason I ask is because I know there's a lot of like misnomers about Facebook and stuff like that. What I'm hearing from a lot of property managers, I talked to a guy, I think he was up in Kansas City. They manage about 3,000 doors, and he said Facebook is his go-to. But you know, we were talking earlier. It's like, where do I find the time to do this? I gotta pick up the kids from basketball, and then the water heater broke, and
Property manager over at Salon, Ronnie Sanderson, he's exclusively does, he doesn't even put it on us, he does all Facebook.
wow.
When I'm done Facebook, most of what I get is dead end. It's for somebody you don't wanna, I mean, especially in the marketplace, somebody normally wouldn't end up leasing to. So
Mhm.
I get a lot of, I don't wanna say trash, but I get a lot of,
Mhm.
it's a lot of waste of time. Nothing ever pans out, or it, I get them to the point of application, and I find out, I gotta find out, whatever it is. It just, my success with Facebook has not given me real good
Yeah.
tenants.
Yeah, it is and same with sales, I have a background in real estate sales. If you're closing 1 in 50, or like, you're doing good, but it's also free. And it's just a time investment. I wanted to ask, because I'm going to transition into another business that we have, because we have a few, because we don't have friends or hobbies, so we just do businesses. This is my better half right here, by the way, Sarah. She does not like to talk, so she's filming and doing all this stuff. So Prime Executive Assistants is our other business. Who has a virtual assistant right now? You have a virtual assistant? Where are they located at? Okay, gotcha. Okay, so we have a virtual assistant company, and one of the things we're wanting to push into. I know this is a little different from marketing, but this is going to open up your time for a lot of marketing. We have a couple partners in the Philippines, and this kind of just came from scratching our own itch. I was needing a virtual assistant really bad because I'm super ADHD. I suck at calendars. I suck at remembering where I'm supposed to be and what time. So, and Sarah was tired of beating me and reminding me where I was supposed to be. So, we went out looking for a virtual assistant, and it's kind of like online dating. Anybody ever done online dating before? It's like, okay, I just, want to find someone to get married to, and it's like thousands of hot singles in your area, and you're like, I don't need thousands, I just need one, So we go on to like Fiverr and stuff like that, need a virtual assistant, and a bajillion people pop up. Who's the scammers? Who's real? How do I know these people? Do I want to send them money? It got really messed up. And so we just called a team that we work with. We actually do a lot of photos for, and they had, this incredible VA. And we're like, hey, where'd you get her? Because we need one of her. We could just clone her. That'd be awesome. And they gave us, a small mom and pop shop in the Philippines, in Luzon. And they were great. They've been phenomenal. They found me the right person. They gave us like 3 candidates to interview. We did personality exams. They did personality exams. And this whole slideshow, does it look like good and aesthetic? Like, does that look good? I didn't do any of that. Like, none of this was me. Pam, my virtual assistant, did the entire thing because I don't have time. I don't have to do much Canva anymore because if I need a digital flyer, I'm like, hey, Pam, do me a digital flyer. Here's the address, go do it, and it just gets done. Wouldn't that be great if you could just that's really what we're working with, is being able to give people their time back. Because you can always pick out a realtor, like if you're at your kid's softball game, and you see the lady who's got her phone like over here, she's, and she's like trying to input a listing, and they miss their son's home run. I hate that. I hate missing out on things. Who has an assistant, like a US-based assistant right now, that's helping you with all those properties, okay? Pedro, you are the assistant? What? So I always say that, though, if you don't have an assistant, you kind of are the assistant. What are some of the, I'm kind of using you as guinea pigs and just gathering data off of you. What are some activities you do as a property manager that literally anybody could do that doesn't require you? Yeah. Gotcha. Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Yeah. So that's, what about you, John? What are some things that you're like, that you're doing on a daily basis that you're like, anybody can be?
All I think of is, I don't do, a lot of my leads come through Zillow or Realtor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't personally have a Zillow or Realtor account, so they're buying that data from MLS. As long as I do all my manipulation, once I get an MLS, but by the next day, I'm working the Zillow leads. I guess I'm saying it's getting exposed through these other great, everybody uses Zillow. I personally, everybody uses Zillow. I know that's in real estate, that's not, real estate versus Zillow or whatever, but it's easy to use. So I guess I don't do anything with it, but I do get results from it.
Mm-hmm. But it's hard to follow up on those leads. Yeah. Because
I have my step, when I check every morning and I'll have 4 or 5 leads on a property or whatever, I've just got a little copy and paste, I just send them, here's how to set up a viewing, here's here's our application link and blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a 2-second
Yeah.
Control V, and I get all those worked. So I do get results from that, and I don't actually have Zillow or Realtor.com.
Yeah.
Get the benefit.
But somebody else could also be doing that, or calling them, reaching out. Is this a real person, or is this a, fake email, stuff like that?
I'm a huge texter. I
Mm-hmm.
don't try to call me. You might not hear from me for 2 days, but I try to encourage them. And usually I'm either getting an immediate text that I'll start the conversation, and sometimes it will lead to a call if they want to set up a showing or whatever. So it pays off for me.
Could somebody else be doing that text?
Do what? Oh, yeah.
Somebody else could be doing that text. So that verifying, okay, this person.
That age range you were talking about, I team I was on, just, talk to one person, call, and I got no results. But, my kids are of the, whatever this generation, millennials, the 20s to 30s. Well, when I started texting, immediate, my results changed. Everybody likes to text. People don't answer strange calls. If I start trying to call someone, they're not going to answer. When I text
Right.
them,
Yeah. Oh, you're real. Yeah.
texting is huge.
Yes.
With me, but at least
Yeah, no, I agree. Millennials would rather say the Pledge of Allegiance naked in front of their high school class than to talk to a stranger on the phone. It's terrifying for them. There's actually some really interesting statistics on Gen Z on what they're struggling with. Like they were asking employers what it was like interviewing Gen Z. 1 in 4 were bringing their parents to their job interview, which I thought was insane. My dad would have beat me to death if I'd asked him to do that. So yeah, you're right, the texting thing. But again, anybody could be you in text and going through that kind of stuff. So that's some of the things that we do. We have virtual assistants that do sales roles, where they do cold calling, cold answering, talking people through stuff like that. And they're less than $10 an hour. I mean, if you had to give yourself an hourly rate, would it be more than $10 an hour? I'm sure it'd be a lot more.
I thought on this whole thing, I don't know Tom cost yesterday.
Yeah.
What the stats are on your, result. Because I do, like right now, I know some of this time of year, but I have a lot of vacant properties. And as those sit, it's costing the owners money. But let's say I spent, I don't know what to hire somebody like you, and I spend that extra money to do that. Is it cost effective to me as Remax, as a property manager? Is that, I'm not reaping the results. It's costing, the owner probably is, hey, I can get somebody in there quicker. Just putting that, trying to do that analysis of,
Yeah.
hey, I can get somebody in a week versus sitting for 3 months if I spend 300 or whatever. I don't even have a clue
Yeah.
what your costs are.
Yeah.
I do know marketing is probably
Yeah.
huge. I feel like it's where I lack the most.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we call that customer acquisition cost. And a lot of people actually do pass that cost onto the owner, and they have that conversation. Hey, we can keep doing what we're doing right now, and maybe have somebody in there in the next 2 months, or we could probably cut that time in half. If we had some professional photos, some virtual staging. What do you want to do, Mr. Investor?
Rates in, since I've been doing this going on 5 years now in property management, and of course what used to be your, a standard 3-2 or 1,400 square foot house that cost you $1,200, now that average is $1,600-1,700.
Yeah.
It's a basic house. So, but you an owner sits for 2 to 3 months, costs, it's paid for, costs $1,500 a month.
Right.
There's 3 months of vacancy, $4,500.
Right.
I don't think your marketing, I wouldn't think it costs $4,500.
Right. And it's like, what is my holding cost versus my customer acquisition cost? And that's what I see a lot. I see a lot of people, that's one of the number one people I call when I'm talking to people who even have their stuff listed on the MLS. They just made a $30,000 price reduction, but they won't spend $300 on professional photos. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like that math doesn't math. And Hilda, for your house there, I mean, that would be $225 for professional photos, floor plan. We do $175 for photos up to 2,000 square feet, and then $25 per 500 square feet after that. Same price for video. Drone's a $100 add-on. And it's, like you said, it's a one-time cost. And, if that can be less than your holding cost, it can absolutely be worth it. So I would highly suggest having those conversations with those property owners and saying, hey, let's put a little oomph into it. And I think that's a phenomenal idea.
I have one owner here in Fayetteville, he's got, I've got about 5 or 6 of his properties. He buys new construction and kind of caters to the students, college students. He doesn't mind with, 3 or 4 college boys, he
Yeah.
likes that. Now, he's a younger guy himself, early 30s, but we went the extra. He wanted to do professional photography. A photographer that I have, that I use, and I do think that helped a lot. It was a big
Oh, yeah.
difference.
Oh, 100%.
When you pull up his listing, it's very obvious this are professional photos.
Right, and that's, goes back to branding and stuff like that. When you walk into an Apple store, you're in an Apple store. Like, it looks a certain way. And people, when they're scrolling, a house might be great, but if it doesn't have professional photos, people are just like, well, is this a professional landlord? And when you go to those that just like stand out, because you've got like seconds to impress somebody. You've got 2, 3 seconds.
As a consumer, you think, I look at real estate, you're which is what I mean, I try to make these phones anymore,
Mhm.
somewhat decent, they're not any comparison professional, but, you know, I've got an apartment complex here in Fayetteville that I manage, and I've got the stock photos of what I've taken over the last 2 or 3 years. Every time a vacancy comes open, I just use those same photos.
Yeah.
But if I was scrolling down through there, you know, looking for, I wouldn't even probably click on that property, you know?
You nailed it. Yeah.
So, yeah, your front image, or, you know, if you're looking for a rental, that's what's gonna capture you, is to try to
Yeah.
somebody to
Let me ask you this, John. What would your business look like if you had an assistant just 2 hours a day to sift through leads, call up leads?
I just tried that in the fall.
Mhm.
I had she's actually, well, she's let her license go. She was a licensed agent that worked for me in my maintenance department, actually. She got her license, and she had left our company, went to another one, another property management company, but she left them. All right, she's great at marketing, so I reached out to her this fall, and just to pay her on the side, you know, here, let me pay you per listing. Get out there, promote it, you know, do all that stuff. But it didn't really, and I don't know, it was hard coming up what to pay her. You know, that was an expense to my company. It wasn't, I didn't pass it on to the owners or anything. It was more because I was stressing out about all these vacancies. You know, I need help to get these occupied. So, and I don't have the time to go out there and do the extra Facebook post or do the, and she's, you know, the canvas and all that stuff, which she was good at. That's why I paid her to do it. But her mom ended up dying. It lasted like 6 weeks.
Oh, no.
Her mom
Yeah.
died, and she's like, I can't do this anymore. So here we are, back to 18. Yeah.
Gotcha. So I could get you somebody for like $100 a week.
How much?
$100 a week for 10 hours. They're there with you 2 hours a day.
I can't even remember what we'd agreed to pay her. But
Would that be more or less?
it probably wasn't worth, I mean, probably wasn't enough to her. Probably
Yeah.
deserved more, honestly.
Yeah. So our people in the Philippines, that what they're making from that, and we usually have them with a couple of different clients. We have them with the D.R. Horton representative right now. All she does is make Canva posts. She makes really cool moving images, post them out there, gets the lead. She'll even respond to leads. Hey, let's set up a call with John. Ba-da-da-da-da. His name's John Teague. Yeah. Awesome stuff like that. But yeah, they make great money. Our VAs make what like a high-end nurse would make. They live very well. We pay them more than the average virtual assistant company. But they go in, you make them an admin on your Facebook page, or they'll even make a Facebook page for you if you don't have one, and they can go to all these groups. I think being in Washington County, there's a lot of college groups, a lot of parent groups. The parent groups are hilarious, by the way. Some of the helicopter parents that are, oh my gosh, it's really funny. But being able to post in those groups, answer questions, and I think something that I would be doing if I was a landlord in Fayetteville was creating some guides for these parents that are, their kids are coming from Texas and other places like that. I was watching a marketing thing. Hilda, let me know if I'm running low on time. 5 more minutes?
Oh, you're good, you're good.
I'm good? Okay.
We're pretty much asking you questions as we go.
Okay, that's perfect, yeah.
It's only 12:36.
Yes, okay, perfect. So Michelin, the tire company, when cars were first becoming a thing, we're like, how do we sell more tires? How do we get people traveling more? People weren't road tripping in cars. And so what they started doing is they started putting out these guides all over Europe of where you want to go. So they created the road trip. And they started giving stars to restaurants. Anybody ever heard of a Michelin star restaurant? Like, that's a Michelin 3-star restaurant. I didn't think it was the tire company, but it is. And they started giving these stars to different places. And like 1 star meant you need to stop there if you're driving by. 2 stars, go out of your way. 3 stars, make it its own trip. And so suddenly restaurants started competing for these Michelin stars, and it became what it is today because of a tire company. So it's funny, how did a tire company translate to restaurants? But it was because they started creating guides saying, we're not just going to put tires on your car, we'll tell you where to drive your car to. So I think getting in there and in the spirit of what we looked at as far as what people are looking for, the walkability, all those sorts of things, being able to answer those parents' questions, because half the time it's the parents that are paying the rent of these college students anyways, and be able to create guides for them where they go, honey, this is the lifestyle you can live if you're at John's place. The other one, I don't know. I have no idea what this one does, but this one has the yoga studio and the dog park down the street and all of those sorts of things. Creating those, I think, can be huge for people. What do you think? Would you think people respond to stuff like that? If you had someone else doing it, John. If you had someone else doing it, we're going to keep you out of Canva. Yeah. Yeah.
Just sometimes I try to put myself in there, on the other side.
Uh huh.
You know, what's gonna capture someone's attention.
Right.
I think the biggest, because, you know, I have other real estate friends that use or tried or interviewed virtual assistants, and it's scary.
Mm-hmm.
Handing over your reputation to someone in another country, speaking for you, right? It's scary.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and two, commitment, you know, so when you're thinking of, you know, okay, let's say I try this person and see how well they do for me. Am I getting my money's worth out of this? Is this person a good match for me? Do they understand the market well enough? Are they showing me new things to improve my business? And and just knowing where is are you able to try something for a couple of months and then be like, I'm hot potato in that one, that one's not working for me.
Absolutely. We have built our business because we had all the same questions. We were consumers first before we even got into this business. And because we were asking the same things. Is there a contract? And, you know, other companies did have contracts, some of them like 18 months. It was crazy. I was like, what if I don't like the guy? You know, what if he doesn't laugh at my jokes? And so that was our first question. So we don't do any contracts because we didn't like any contracts. Two, if you get somebody, you choose somebody. And of course, we do a lot of personality exams. We do the DISC assessment. One of your fellow Keller Williams coworkers they just did a 2-hour interview with one of ours and did the whole KPA, Keller Personality Assessment thing. And they're so excited to start with this person because they feel like we just put them through the entire process of career visioning. And we were cool with it. We're like, oh yeah, whatever you want to do, however many interviews you want to do. And if the person isn't working out, you don't have to have that awkward conversation. You just call us and say, hey, instead of Jim, I really liked Juanita that we also interviewed. Could we switch them out? And we've done that. It's rare that it happens, but you know, personalities, you never know how you're going to really work together. So yeah, that's something you can do, no contract. So if you want to try it out and 6 weeks later something happens with your business and you're like, I can't do this anymore, we can switch that out, or we can just let you go. And then if you wanted a different person, we can absolutely plug and play somebody else in there. What was your other objection?
Well, there's no objection. It's really more
No, I like objections.